Channel 2, 11, 13, Telemundo, 26. So we'll make sure we don't start before everybody's here. We're holding, ma'am.
Just want to get the, is that the mug shot?
Yeah, that is the individual that we arrested.
That's him?
I thought this lady right here was my Cynthia. I saw the back of you. I have one of my PIOs looked just like you from the back.
Oh, really?
I said, Cynthia, and you kept walking.
No, I just didn't know where you were.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. For the record, my name is Mark Herman, H-E-R-M-A-N. I am the constable with Harris County Precinct 4. So let me kind of tell you what we have. We, yesterday evening, our patrol deputies made a medical call at a motel in the 16,000 block of the North Freeway. That call, while we were out on that call, there were some things that were said to our deputies that alerted them to some suspicious activity going on in one of the rooms. Their investigation led them up to this room where they found a black male, this individual, Alan Austin, and a 26-year-old female with a 2-year-old child, and also a 14-year-old juvenile. When deputies began to investigate and talk to these folks, they started getting different stories, and at some point, the 14-year-old juvenile began to give a false name, and long story short, she ended up ending up to be a runaway out of a small town that's about 100 miles from Houston. Through their investigation, they were able to determine that this 14-year-old girl had been being used for sexual purposes by Mr. Austin, and he had been basically pimping her out on the streets of North Harris County. We were able to immediately separate these folks and bring the juvenile. We ended up getting her medical help at Texas Children's to have her evaluated, and at which time she was taken into custody, and I believe she was released to her parents earlier this morning, but she was a runaway. I don't want to say what town she was out of, because it's a small town, and I do think they get feeds from the Houston area, so just be safe to say a town within a 100-mile range of the Houston area. She was a runaway and came down here for whatever purpose and was accosted by this individual. I will open it up for any questions. Let me just say that Alan Austin, we ended up filing human trafficking of a minor on him, which is a first-degree felony, aggravated promotion of prostitution of a minor, and also compelling prostitution. All three of these are first-degree felonies, and we got a no bond on this individual. So we're very happy to get him off the streets. I can tell you the other individual that was in the room, there's an ongoing investigation. She wasn't as cooperative as the juvenile was with us, but that there's still a part of that process going on. There could be more charges filed on Mr. Austin, and that's still under investigation.
What role did that other person play, or was the 14-year-old the only one there being forced to perform?
Yeah, we're still, our investigation is basically ongoing to find out what exactly the 26-year-old and the 2-year-old child that was in there, what part there was in this whole situation. But again, there could be more charges coming out of this situation.
You said 2-year-old, you mean 14-year-old?
No. There was in the room, there was the 14-year-old, a 26-year-old female with a 2-year-old child with Mr. Austin. So, yeah, and so all that's being put together by our investigators, and there could be more possible charges, but we'll see where our investigation takes us.
But do you think the 2-year-old was abused in some way?
No, we have nothing to lead us to believe that, no. No, the 2-year-old was just in the room. Our focus of our investigation was two parts: getting that 2-year-old safe, and we're looking at the 26-year-old female and also Mr. Austin for further possible charges.
Did the 14-year-old victim mention anything about how she came in contact with Mr. Austin in the first place?
She did. It was one of these deals, coming to the new city, meeting this guy who appeared to be a friend, at which time he started grooming her. I don't want to go into details of our investigation because that'll all come up in our trial. I do believe that we have a very good criminal case against Mr. Austin, and hopefully we can put him where he belongs, and that's in prison.
Did they meet online?
I really don't want to go into all that. Yeah, I'd really rather not do that because that's part of our investigation. And again, our investigation is ongoing, and I don't want to do anything to jeopardize the further points of our investigation.
We hear that this individual was at that motel for like a week. Do we know him?
Yeah, we know he had been there for quite some time. Though we have those records, and again, I don't really want to go into them, but we're right now working on some other avenues to figure out possible other potential victims and other suspects.
So there could be more victims.
Oh yeah, there could be, yes. And that's something we'll be looking at, and our investigators have been on this since yesterday.
And as a follow-up question, we talked to the person that's in charge of the hotel or the motel, and he says that he feels like there's a problem in this area, and he feels like obviously he cannot look for every person that
Right.
comes into his business.
Right.
But what are you doing to make sure that all these businesses, because he didn't like the fact that
Right.
his business is being used for
Certainly, and we don't either. I can tell you that in this particular case, and we don't. In police work, we hold our cards close to our chest of what basically our officers, how they're trained, and equipment we carry and things of that nature to try to stay ahead of the criminals. I can tell you that the majority of our patrol officers are trained in human trafficking. In other words, when they're out on the streets running burglary calls, disturbance calls, they know when they get in an environment such as they did yesterday at a motel, and they're given this set of circumstances that it didn't meet the smell test for them, which led them from a medical call of a lady wanting to be transported to the hospital to rescuing a 14-year-old victim. So all our deputies have training in human trafficking and the signs to look for. The biggest thing is, our communities, when they see something that's suspicious, guys going into rooms with girls, and they need to say something. I mean, the see something, say something. We can't do it alone. We will, anytime we have human trafficking investigators. That's all they do. As a matter of fact, they came out on this scene yesterday and brought all this to fruition, if you will. But if we know about a case or we know someone's being trafficked, we're on it. I mean, that's a priority. And as far as it being on the increase or decrease, I don't have the numbers to say that. I can say that it's becoming more and more prevalent out in our area because we've dealt with several cases, and some of you have been at other conferences where we've had folks trafficked from out of town. We had a similar situation just like this about 6 months ago. So, we do the best we can, but our first point of defense is our citizens bringing the information to us, and plus our alert officers. In this case, the patrol deputies, those folks were spot on. I mean, they're the reason we rescued this girl.
Were those girls being pimped out? You said north part of the Harris County, right?
Yes.
Where at exactly the areas?
From that location.
Are these neighborhoods or?
Well, yeah, again, I don't want to go into the clientele and stuff because there's possibly going to be more charges filed. But I can tell you they were using that facility. We know that for a fact. And that's really all I want to say about that.
With the manager of the motel, if they're using it and they're using it with some regularity as a base of operations, could they not be brought into this as well?
I don't want to comment on that because that's still under investigation. I mean, that's a part of the process. If we find out that they have culpability and they know what's going on, shame on them. And we will, follow the letter of the law on that and prosecute as many folks as we need to. And I want to just say our district attorney's office has been very good working with us on this. And this is, these human trafficking cases are a #1 priority for us to save our kids.
Did they have any connection to Bissonnette? Did they go to Bissonnette Street or the Strip or any of that, or are they just operating?
When you say Bissonnette, what are you referring?
Strip, where there are a lot of these prostitutes.
Yeah, we're not aware of any affiliation between this particular case and that area.
And can you comment on the fact that this could happen in your backyard? This is not just limited to a metropolitan area or a busy area.
Right.
This could happen anywhere.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with the media and social media, what it is, there's avenues for these young kids to reach out to folks who they think are legitimate folks trying to help them or help them get a job, and then they take them and groom them and things of that nature. It's becoming more and more prevalent during this day and time. I mean, versus 10 years ago.
I want to know about this medical call. Was the medical call for one of the three, the 2-year-old, the 26, or the 14?
No. Wasn't for anybody that was in that room when we went up to the room.
Okay, so you just went there for something else and then you found this?
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, the person asking for medical help alerted the officers about a possible situation. The officers went and took the initiative to investigate and rescue this individual. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're seeing some cases around the country now where, the fact of there being sex trafficking, it seems like some very prominent people are being impacted and are, at the root of some of these cases. But what do you say about the fact that this isn't just something that happens, here? It's going on so many different places around the country.
Well, I would say that I'm not going to say anything about that because, Mark Herman and Precinct 4, we're focused on Harris County and our partners. Now, if we know of this going on somewhere, well, we're certainly going to reach out to the other law enforcement partners across the state or the country and collaborate and work with them, and we do that all the time. I mean, I can tell you that we have child pornography guys that sit around all day and they basically surf the internet, and they look for these folks passing child pornography. Now, we don't go tell everybody that because that's something we have to our advantage. But oftentimes the FBI will contact us and say, hey, you've got somebody in your area passing porn from Michigan to wherever, and they say, y'all want to handle the case that's down in your area, and we do that. We work very well with our law enforcement partners, and here with Ed Gonzalez's office, the sheriff's office, HPD, we collaborate and work together. And again, if there's a crime and there's culpability, we're on it. We're going to do what we need to do to file charges.
Let me ask you this. Was there any sense of relief on the part of the 14-year-old girl when your deputy showed up?
Yeah, I tell you, at first she was from what I've been told, she was very, you could tell she had been groomed to give another name and say certain things. After a while, the investigators, and understand our human trafficking folks, they deal with this, more than a regular deputy would. And after they develop a bond and they talk to her, the longer they talk to her, the more they got the truth out of her. And I can tell you her parents are very relieved to have her rescued and, have her on her way back home. And again, we took her immediately for medical attention, and so it's hopefully she'll get back on the right path.
Is she on her way back home now?
I'm sorry?
What shape was she in? Was she?
Yeah, I really don't want to go into any of that, into her physical status. I know she was taken to Texas Children's, and it's my understanding she was going to be released and given back to the parents today.
How long was she, approximately how long was she being trafficked?
We think she was down there for at least a couple of weeks.
And how long was she groomed?
I really don't want to go into that per se because that's part of our investigation. But we know certainly she was.
What do we know about the background?
How long was she
She was a runaway for about a month. Mm-hmm.
And she made her way to Houston. Did she say if somebody brought her or she hitchhiked?
Yeah, Deborah, I really don't want to go into that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to wrap up the questions unless you have something that's...
Can you tell me what I know you said the address, but what is it?
Yeah, we've, Chief Key, are you here? He's got the actual printed out press releases, and we're going to blast out by email this press release to all your outlets. So they'll have the digital photo, they'll have this, and they'll have the actual press release, what Chief Key is going to give y'all. And, you should have
Is there
everything.
something else that you can mention about the background of this man? If this was the first time that he...
Yeah, I would suggest y'all do your homework on this guy. I can't give it out. I'd like to, but I can't. But just, you got his name, date of birth, go through your process of getting that information. And we're just so elated that this guy was no bonded. I mean, this guy is locked up where he needs to be, where he can't victimize more folks. And like I say, the investigation is ongoing, so we'll see where it takes us.
Is there anything to suggest he's part of a larger operation?
I would say right now, until we finish our investigation, we don't really want to elaborate on that.
All of the people involved here are African American?
Yes, I believe so. I believe so. What was the 14-year-old black, Daryl? Okay, yeah, yeah. All righty, we're wrapping it up.
Well,
Yes.
You mentioned that the suspect's a possible pimp. Does that mean that the 26-year-old worked for him, or you don't have?
Don't know, but we feel probably so. And again, our investigation's ongoing on that, and we'll see where it takes us. And again, more possible charges could be filed, and not only on him.
And the last question I have is the 2-year-old, possibly his daughter, or we don't know that?
Don't know, we don't think so, no.
The 26-year-old is a female.
She is a female, yes. All righty, thank y'all very much. Chief Key, do you have those releases? We'll give those out to y'all. Yeah, just take one and pass them down.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm gonna call Cynthia, she'll blast these out electronically. Can I get that one? You got that one? Yeah, you could just keep it. I'm gonna go call Cynthia real quick. Thank y'all very much. Have a good weekend.
Stay here.